Good afternoon everyone, especially to you, Dr. Dennis Pilicura. Good afternoon. And now, this afternoon, I will discuss about the principles of oral communications. But before that, what is oral communication? Oral communications is the process of exchanging informations, ideas, thoughts, and feelings through spoken language. And now, there have characteristics of oral communication or effective oral communications. Number one is effective oral communications has the following characteristic. The first is clarity. This is the one of the characteristics of oral communications because the clarity is the message is easy to understand, or words are simple, and also the clarity is very important in characteristic effective of oral communications. The second characteristic of oral communication to become effective oral communication is the conciseness. When we say conciseness, it is the speaker delivers the message briefly without unnecessary details. And next is the correctness. The correctness is use proper grammar, pronunciations, and accurate information. This is the one of the characteristic of effective oral communications. The next one is the completeness. When we say completeness, is provide all the informations, or like for example in the classroom, the teacher provide all information or instructions to all the students. And the next is the courtesy. When you say courtesy, this is one of the effective oral communication or the characteristic of oral communications. The courtesy is shows respect and politeness toward audience. Like for example, there have between the communication of the peoples, like, can you please give my cell phone? Something like that. And the next is the coherence. When we say the coherence, the ideas are organized logically and connected smoothly. This is the coherence. The next one is the confidence. When we say the confidence, this is the one of the characteristic of oral communication. The speaker speaks with assurance, maintains eye contact, and use appropriate information or appropriate tone. And now let's proceed to the types of oral communication. The first types of oral communication is the intrapersonal. The intrapersonal communications is the communication with oneself. The second one is interpersonal communication. Interpersonal, this is the communication between two or more people. This is the interpersonal. And the next one is the small group communication. This is the communication of a group. Like for example, the people working toward to achieve common goal. This is the small group communication. And the next one is public communication. The public communication is one person speaks to a large audience. Like for example, the speech. This is one example of the public communication. And the last one is the mass communication. Communications delivered to a large audience through media like the radio, radio broadcast, or broadcasting in social media. And now let's proceed to the purposes of speaking. People speak for different reasons. Why? This is the purpose of speaking. One of the purpose of speaking is to inform. How to inform? To inform or to provide information. That is the one purpose of speaking. And another purpose is to persuade. How to persuade? How to persuade? To persuade is to convince others to believe or do something. That is one of the purpose of speaking. And the next is to entertain, to amuse or make the audience enjoy. That is one of the purpose of speaking. And the next one is to inspire or to motivate. That is the purpose of speaking is to inspire or to motivate, to encourage people or to take positive action. That is the purpose of speaking. And now let's proceed to the communication context. What is communication context? Communication context refers to the situation in which communications takes place. Now, that is the communication context. It is refers to the situation which as communication takes place. One of the communication context is the intrapersonal context. When we say intrapersonal, this is the talking to oneself. And the second communication context is the interpersonal context. It is the communication between two or more people. This is the interpersonal under the communication context. And the next one is the small group context. When we say small group context, it is the communication among few people working together. The next is public context. The public context is one speaker addresses a large audience or one speaker's speaking in the front of many audience or people. And the next is mass communication context. The mass communication context is the communication through radio, newspapers, or the internet. That is mass communications. And the last one is the intercultural communication. It is a communication between people from different cultures. Like for example, the Filipino communicate to Japanese, or Filipino communicate their friends into other places like China, America, England, or other places. We have other places that we have different cultures to share or to communicate someone or someone in our lives, and that is the communication context. Proceed to the communication competence. When we say communication competence, the communication competence is the ability to communicate effectively and appropriately in different situations. A competent communicator demonstrates the following. The number one is linguistic competence. The linguistic competence, knowledge of grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciations. That is the linguistic competence. The second one is sociolinguistic competence. When we say sociolinguistic, using language appropriate or the audience situations. That is the sociolinguistic competence. And the next is the discourse competence. The word discourse, it is the connecting ideas logically to form meaningful conversations or speeches. That is a discourse. And the next is strategic competence. The word strategic, it is using communications strategies to overcome difficulties. And the next is the cultural competence. It's about the culture. It is the cultural competence, respecting cultural differences with communicating appropriate communication with people from diverse cultures or diverse backgrounds. And now, that's all about the oral communications. That's all my topic, and hopefully you learned something from my discussion. And that's all, and have a great day. God bless us all.